Right, and this
Recording in progress.
this webinar will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube afterward. I will email a copy of the link to everyone in attendance. I think we have a lot of people joining and then leaving and then joining again.
Okay, I think Cynthia, you can just get it started.
Okay, sure. It is 6:32, and if more people join, then they'll join. Sure. So welcome to the first web seminar webinar for AI for Legislation, hosted by Silicon Valley Chinese Association Foundation. Today we have joining us our foundation president, Chunhua Liao. He is also a seasoned computer scientist. Hopefully he can offer some more insights into the current landscape of AI. And we also have William Tsui, who founded Legalese Decoder, among several other startups. And today's topic is broadly legislative AI, its current role, and I suppose what modern day solutions look like, as well as the potential for it to grow in the future. Now, if we can have Chunhua introduce himself, Silicon Valley Chinese Association Foundation, and this project a little bit more.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, again, my name is Chunhua Liao. I'm currently the president of Silicon Valley Chinese Association Foundation. And this is a non-profit 501c3 organization, and I started with a few friends in Silicon Valley back in 2014, actually, and 15, formally founded. The mission of this organization is really to promote the awareness of civil engagements among the Chinese Americans or immigrants in general in Silicon Valley. And because traditionally, this kind of like a political engagements and how to understand the legislative processes, it's not in our tradition, not in our genes. So, and we wanted to change that. We are still working on this, but we are getting better and better. And looking forward, and in the next 10 years, hopefully we can survive that long. What would be the next big thing for our organization? I think personally, I'm a big believer of the upcoming like AI and innovation or new revolution and brought by the AI technologies in general. So that's why I started this AI for legislation project. I actually want to run this project every year, starting this year as the first year. Of course, like any project starting for the first time, there will be a lot of hiccups and surprises, but we are in Silicon Valley, so failures are just part of the process. So I fully embrace failures, and I can take all the responsibilities if this project does not go well, but I will try again, again, and again.
Yeah, fail
So
fast, fail often, right?
yeah, exactly. And so that's my introduction. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, like I'll introduce myself a little bit. So yeah, my name's William, and I founded Legalese Decoder about a little bit over 2 years ago. And yeah, so like I've always been interested in technology and solving problems. And last few years, it's been just AI this, AI that, AI everything ever since like ChatGPT. Just what within like a month or so, 100 million users signed up. It was the fastest growing product of anything we've ever seen, like much faster than the internet or Facebook or like even Instagram or all those like social media apps. So yeah, like I started early on, like back in high school, like I just deal with tech and just did some programming, games, things like that with just basic tools back then was like QBasic or something like that, right? So yeah, like it's just got my early start, but like I'm nowhere as confident as the coding as someone like Chunhua has for doing like the really detailed work, right? Like I'm mostly just a product kind of builder, right? So we're a little bit different, but like we found different things to get focused on, right? And one of the things that really got me into building this new product was that for one of my projects before, like I had to get a service from this API company where they gave me well, like the usual paperwork to sign, and that was it, right? So sign up, start developing and all that stuff. But for some reason, this particular project, we had to pause it because of just working on different things, right? And about 6 months later, we go back and we found out that to continue developing for this API, we had to resign new contract. Okay, so this is pre-AI day, right? And I was just looking, okay, the pricing structure. Oh, okay, it got a little bit cheaper. Nice. Look at the pricing table, all that stuff. Okay, good. Okay, just sign and keep developing, right? And about a month later, they start sending me bills for like, oh, there's a $1,500 bill. I was like, oh, what is this? Like we're not using the production code and all that stuff yet. We're still doing development. It's like, oh, okay, there's this new fine print at like the bottom of like some like one of the last pages and just hidden things like that. So caught us totally off guard. And this was almost close to when GPT was first released, like GPT-3 with Chat GPT. So that got me thinking. It's like, okay, if the AI about 2-3 years ago can start analyzing text and stuff at this level, like it was very close to what a human lawyer can do already, or at least like a newly trained lawyer, right? Like we could build something like this not just for myself, but a lot of small business owners or people getting stuck with legal text like leases or like bills or even like some government paperwork. It's very useful for them. So yeah, that's how we got started on this. So yeah, like that's kind of like my quick intro to about me and what I did and how we got started.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Yeah, that was one of the questions that I had planned to ask you. So good that we got that out of the way so quickly. I
And
could,
maybe Cynthia, we have quite some guests on the line too. And do you want to introduce the agenda a little bit so people
oh,
know what
sure.
to expect?
Yes, currently we just wrapped up our introduction phase of the webinar. We're going to move on to a kind of conversational interview hosted by myself, but I'm hoping it will be more like an insightful talk between Chunhua and William. I think that will flow well. And if there is, a break in there and nobody knows what to say, then I will jump in and ask another question.
Sure.
And then at the end, around 7:10, 7:15, whenever the conversation is wrapping up, we're hoping to open the floor to the audience to ask any questions. Yeah, that's basically the full plan.
Great.
Awesome.
So as for the interview, we'll start off with a pretty general one with how far AI has come since, your first days developing it. What are both of your thoughts on today's applications of AI in legislation? Like, should it be doing more, perhaps? Or do you think your Legalese Decoder might be as far as we can take it?
Okay. Chunhua, do you want to take that first or should I
I
take
think
it?
you should go first. You are our guest.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so like it's very exciting how AI is being used these days. Like I'm sure like a lot of you has taken note of what Elon Musk is doing with like the Doge and all that stuff. So yeah, like with AI analyzing these like mountains of data that the government has, it's a big web of big tangles and everything. So that like with AI being the tool that it is, that most humans can like, okay, maybe you can read a few pages at a time and try to get an understanding of everything. Like with AI, what you can do with now with like NLP and all these other technologies, you can start dumping like just books and books and books of like PDF files in there, and you can start summarizing, understanding, and just answer questions. Like it's actually something that was never available before these couple years. So this is definitely a new exciting frontier. So like right now, I'm not particularly like involved with like the legislation side of things yet, because like I don't know personally too many legislators, but like you can start seeing some of them posting on X or on Facebook that, okay, they might be using technology to help draft bills, whereas they would have taken weeks, months to start something, getting some ideas from like the voters. They could be doing within hours, as they can start drafting with AI technology. And another great things that you can start doing is that we can start spotting inconsistencies from one piece of legislation versus another piece if there are conflicts or anything like that, right? Because that's when we start having pile-ups of new laws, new legislations all the time. Like there is bound to be conflicts all the time. One of the things that I was actually quite impressed by how, like if you heard this from Elon Musk or other thinkers out there, is that there should be some type of expiry dates for laws and legislations, because these days doesn't matter which country you're in, you still have laws from 100 years ago, 200 years ago that are still in effect right now, which really serves no purpose to the modern societies. So like with technology, we would be able to start addressing these old archaic laws that don't serve us anymore, or make amendments so that they could better serve us today. And do you have anything to add in there?
Okay, yeah, sure. Maybe especially for people who just joined in. My background actually, like most people in Silicon Valley, my daily work is to understand the software. Like there's a piece of software, very important, how to understand it and how to optimize it and make it run faster, more efficient. And I have been doing that since my maybe undergraduate study. My background is computer science. At a certain point, and suddenly I will think about what if we can treat a person or the entire society as a piece of software.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a very intriguing, crazy thought I had. Then we could apply all the like analysis, optimization technologies to a person, to a community, or even to the entire country or world. And in computer science, again, the most important thing is something called algorithms,
Mhm.
like how you follow some rigid steps to finish something. The corresponding concept for a society, for a country, actually are the laws. For a country, that's the constitution. And for like HOA, that's a bylaw, and anywhere in between, there are a lot of regulations or laws. Really, the difference between like a person and a community is really what kind of laws or processes they follow to finish and their goals. So all of a sudden, I realized the importance of all the laws, and I should pay more attention to laws around me, especially now I'm a U.S. citizen. I should take the ownership mindset to and shape the legislative process, because that's mostly the competitive edges for a country. The best type of laws, very balanced laws to consider all the interests from stakeholders, to have the best incentives to kind of foster the good behaviors of people, and also reduce bad behaviors. So that was the point I realized. Really, the competitive edge of a country actually is the constitution are the laws. So that was the kind of wake up call for myself. So that's why I realized the importance of legislative process. So from technical side, I think in the past few years, large language models or AIs kind of just take the world by storm. So everybody now uses ChatGPT. And I actually studied knowledge and graphs in my career. I realized large language models, they are actually the first time in human history we developed something scalable, automated,
Mhm.
and they can extract knowledge out of any types of input,
Yes.
including text, and video, images, audios, DNAs, and even brain waves. So there are researchers trying to using AI to decode what you are thinking and actually made quite some progress. So this is the first time in human history, this kind of revolutionary brand new innovation and we are getting in our hands. So and back maybe 2 years ago, I predicted this will be huge, like everybody would jump in. The only downside for me that at that point, I did not buy enough NVIDIA stocks. So that was my biggest regret. So I predicted this would be a huge thing, but I did not buy enough NVIDIA
Yeah,
stocks.
it's okay.
Yeah, so it's very exciting time for me. So like I said, I mentioned those two major elements. Like for country community, really the laws are the algorithms, the
Yeah.
processes, enable everything. On the other hand, the technology AI is coming, so it's very natural for me to try to combine both most important thing in my life almost.
Hmm.
Hopefully my wife and son they are not in the
Yeah.
audience
Yeah.
together. So I really want to do something and about this. So that's kind of my personal and perspectives.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah, like with regarding like AI and law and everything, like it's a great tool for us right now. Like even though it might start displacing a lot of what I would say like white collar jobs in the next little while, like there's still a huge opportunity in benefiting the society with the legal side of things. Because right now, be a great tool, it doesn't solve every problem just yet, right? Like it's not going to start replacing lawyers or legislators just yet. But like it could really start helping all these people in positions to do more work and be more productive on behalf of the citizens. So like it was we're very happy that like during our last 2 years of the development, there has been some recognition in the legal society where I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but like in Maryland, there's organization called Maryland Access to Justice. They actually pointed out about our software as a solution to help bringing equity and equality to the masses because just way too many people can't afford lawyers or even go to notaries or get anything checked out like with just basic things like leases or bills, things like that. And another example that was actually featured on TV in Pennsylvania, where their local 69 News, they actually did a segment which we posted on our website, reposted there, and it was this gentleman that was having problems with his landlord, and he was able to use our tools and some other AI tools at the time to help figure out what to do and get himself out of some like legal trouble or some like massive fees that he shouldn't have to pay. So yeah, like technology today, it's great as a tool. It's not gonna solve all your problems just yet, but at some point we do see it where it can start maybe working side by side with lawyers or legislators or something like that. Whereas like one of the more popular words that they start using with like Microsoft or Open AI, they say, oh, as a co-pilot, right? It would be a very good co-pilot for lawyers or legislators, senators, or anyone who has powers to shape society for us on our behalf.
Interesting. So William, and I'm a mostly kind of scientist by training. I always have the highest respect for people who can start a company and really compete with big tech companies, especially in this very crowded AI landscape. I was wondering if you are comfortable to answer this question. How can you position your startup company, especially the one related to using AI to interpret legal bills, when all the big companies they are also kind of releasing more and more powerful models every a few months right now, like including Google, OpenAI, and XAI. How do you position your company?
Yeah, so like one of the lessons that I've learned my last time I was doing my startup, which we were talking about a little bit earlier before the show, right? Was
Mm,
that I was involved in a fintech startup, and one of the biggest things that we've learned is never try to compete with Google, and never build anything that Google can just clone you and take over, right? Because that's the classic story. Like there's lots of startups who raise huge amounts of money from VCs, um, maybe for like the first year or something, right? They raise millions and all that stuff and be relatively successful. But once you start showing success and traction to either Google's to their SEO algorithm, or if it's some kind of product thing, like a hardware product to Amazon, they're just going to clone you, right? You look at a lot of these food reviews sites or maps or whatever, it just got taken over by Google Maps. It's integrating everything, right? So it's really hard to build something and not expect someone like Google, Amazon, or like Facebook or whatever to take it over. So what we try to do as Legalese Decoder when we first started is a product just for myself and others like myself who started small businesses. But as we go on, my Silicon Valley brain starts kicking in again. It's like if this is gaining traction, which it is still gaining traction right now, whereas just in the last 12 months, we've got close about like just over 100,000 users with our software. And half of that, like about 50,000 is from the US. So there's definitely demand everywhere. Like everyone is getting their butt kicked from leases, bills, like government things. Like it's just a lot of things that we need some help from the legal side of things, and we can't all afford lawyers, right? So how we want to specialize ourselves is that with Google or OpenAI or whatever, right? They build base foundational models where they can do everything pretty well, right? But like they don't try to specialize. So what we've done is that we taken their best models, tweak and tune it for our purpose, and focus it on just one niche, just figuring out legal problems for small business owners or other people who are using these tools for, like, I would say consumer need, right? But there's some kind of liability too, right? Because with Google, Facebook, and all these guys, they are good at what they do. They're good at social media. They're good at search, or they're good at like videos or sharing or whatever, right? But not any of them want to take on the responsibility of legal matters, because that's a domain of has been the domain of lawyers for hundreds of years. Where like Google, like if you're familiar with their search engine or their algorithm, is that there's this thing called your money or your life. It's like important things where they don't want just anybody to handle. So this is something that we focus in, that we try to do the best at ourselves, so that we get it to a point where, okay, we're getting some recognition from actual groups of lawyers, like just hey, giving us the thumbs up to say, okay, these guys are doing all right, that we should keep focusing on this and try to build the best product instead of, okay, like worrying about Google might take over, because they shouldn't be doing something like this, or Facebook or whatever. Like they can build models who can do certain answers and all that, but like the biggest, I would say, friction to a normal consumer, like everyday people like you and I, is that they don't know how to engage with these chatbots to get the answer that they need to solve their problems. So that's kind of where we try to position ourselves a little bit different than just basic foundation models, where I would probably consider it, okay, like everyone has the foundation of getting electricity in their homes, or everyone has the foundational technology of having internet on their computers. but how you engage with that power, with that technology, with that tool is not in everyone's mindset, mind frame where they know how to use it properly. So we basically give them a very easy to use way so that they can solve their um, lease problems with their housing or with their small business, with they are getting their contracts with like the suppliers or with their vendors or with their customers, clients like that, or even something to do to talk to like their banks or their loans or sometimes even government contracts. So we have to make sure that everyone has affordable way or even a free way to start engaging with these so they have good understanding of what they're signing. Because yeah, like we don't want to keep hearing people, hey, you're signing your life away, you're signing your baby away, or you're signing your firstborn away. Like we want to have people not have to do that anymore without understanding what they're signing up for.
I actually had a follow-up question about, I guess, liability. I think bias has always been something on the minds of people who develop AI, right? Because it's present in the data. There's very little you can do to completely eradicate human bias found in the data used to train various models and such. And how, I guess, do you interact with this conundrum in Legalese Decoder? Because isn't there, like, is there liability when it comes to maybe your decoder makes a wrong translation or bad advice because of previous bias? Then how do you deal with that?
For sure. Yeah, like this has always been a problem, not just in today's AIs, but like all kinds of programmatically made like software where they are rule based. There's always ways to break it per se, and we're not immune to the same phenomena as well. So as a small startup, like we don't have the luxury to train a model from ground up like these large companies do with like billions of dollars of funding. Like we're still a very small startup ourselves, just with a few people. But as we were using these older models from like OpenAI or Claude or like Google, like with the Gemini and all that, there has been cases where we were flagged for having bad translations or bad advice and stuff like that. So like we do take those feedback and we keep tuning our models and their tunings and their basically the prompts to enhance the models. Like back then, like you were seeing a lot of these cases where they feed a lot of court cases where sometimes you might get a racial bias because like you might have certain minorities where they have been sentenced for longer or shorter depending on the skin color or like the creed or whatever, right? So like this has happened before, but as we try to build more guardrails around that, and also with like OpenAI or even like Claude, Google, they all have built-in rails for that. Like I wouldn't say it's unbreakable, but then it has been getting better and better at preventing these from happening. And for the most part, because of the audience that we serve, we do get a lot of the same questions all the time, where it's mostly based around like leases, contracts of small businesses, of like homes. Um, so like we're not dealing with a lot of criminal cases just yet, but like it's something that we do pay attention to. And yeah, like it's that's why like I still say like with the tools we have today, it's still just a tool, not like a complete replacement of judges or lawyers or counsels and things like that. It's challenging, as you do point out, but like it's something that is looking better and better every day.
Right. And maybe I can add a little bit of personal opinions to this subject too. I
Please.
think like any technologies, they will never be 100% like a foolproof or absolutely and correct in any conditions. And the way I see any kind of tools is that and we need to establish some kind of baseline. Let's say we use a human as a baseline. Like in Silicon Valley, we are talking about autonomous driving, right?
Hmm.
We should never expect the AI-driven cars never have car accidents.
Yeah.
The real metric we should look at is compared to most human drivers or
Yes.
even the best human drivers, how far the AI-driven cars can get in terms of lot of metrics like the mileage on average, the probabilities of getting into accidents. So this is the way I judge technologies. So
Okay.
using the same method for like legal interpretation using AI, we should establish similar kind of human baseline. Like let's say you go out, hire a lawyer, spending like $300, $500 per hour.
Hmm.
You get a certain level of quality of services. Then you spend maybe $20 or $50 for your AI an advisor for
Yeah.
an lawyer. Then you compare like the quality of services
Yes.
and the costs you are paying. Then I think that's a better way to approach this problem.
Yeah.
And quite often, especially, and we look at the politicians, they criticize, oh, the AI sucks, and
Hmm.
they have biases. I think, wait a second. I think so far I talked to all the AI and models, they are much nicer than you guys, the politicians.
Just don't make mistakes either.
Yeah, yeah. I think they already surpass the majority of the politicians we
Yeah.
have. So, so okay, this is half joke, half
Yeah.
reality. So that's
Oh
why.
yeah, yeah, I think it's real. Like just like how we deal with doctors and technology now, right?
Mhm.
Like a few years ago, like you see these memes on the internet saying that, oh, like don't confuse my doctor's training with Google. And but these days you see so many different cases online on social media that people have taken their blood test or whatever X-ray or whatever test they've done, and they can actually do diagnosis much better than these trained doctors can, because it's not just because they are better and seen more data to make decisions, but is that a lot of these doctors are just overworked and that they just don't have time and energy to process everything at the top of their game. But with an AI engine, it's never tired. It's never like having a bad day. You ask it to do something. As long as you feed it power, it's gonna do its job, right? Like hopefully you ask nicely, right? So that they don't say no. But most of the time, like I had very good success with whatever questions that I've asked my AI to help me with.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm very excited almost every day because I'm kind of total believer of this and artificial general intelligence will come in and we will have a society with abundance. That's kind of my
Yeah,
personal kind of Kool-Aid drink I'm drinking every day.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Accelerationist. So am I. Yeah.
Yeah, but I totally understand that there are a larger group of people. They think this is just a larger hype of technology. Like if you look back the history, right,
Hmm.
there were like several kind of so-called AI winters, right,
Hmm.
happened before the AI and industry or research communities promised a lot
Hmm.
but never delivered. And people saying, "Oh, this is just another hype. You guys are cooking up just to enrich yourselves, getting more uh, funding, getting more investment." So, what's your take about this, William?
Well, like for us, like I don't think it's hype at all. Like we're a small company, right? But even like 2 years ago, as we were building this product, I actually built a prototype of this service with AI, with GPT-3 back then, because I'm not a very good coder at all. So I do need the help, and I was able to just push it out within just 24 hours of nonstop. Well, like these days they call it vibe coding, but like back then I was just like trying and trying and trying, and got that working. And one of the practical applications that I've also made is that back then we have been paying people to write blogs for us, articles and stuff for marketing users and everything, because I wear many hats. Marketing is one of them. And we used to pay what, like $10-20 an article, and we would have to beg these writers from like different universities, colleges to hand us drafts and all that stuff like after a week and all that. So 2 years ago with GPT-3 and its API, we were able to push out hundreds to thousands of articles for just maybe, back then was like what, 50 cents to $1 a pop,
Wow.
versus like $10-20 and waiting for weeks, and we get like near instantly. 2 years later today, like we would, if we want to do the same kind of thing, like it would cost us less than a cent. So like all these white collar opportunities are really being taken away, and I don't think that's hype at all. And if you start looking at these graphic designs, like just in the last few days with like these cartoons and all that stuff they've been pushing out just the last few days, it's gone viral, and it's nuts. Like even before this technology, like with this video and these image AI, like just 2 years ago, I can start envisioning that like this, we're gonna be in a very rough time, especially with how the economy is going worldwide, especially in US and Canada for the last few years or last decade, is that these technology is going to like level the playing field for a lot of like entry level entrepreneurs, where before, like even for myself, where as I have some connections and some path of funding, right? It's very hard for, it still was very hard for me to raise capital and put together a team of coders to build something. But these days, I have an idea and I formulate how to ask the AI, so how to prompt it properly. A few minutes later, I have a prototype. It's like, this is not hype, this is real. Like in the right hands, this could replace teams of like dozens or hundreds of people. And I don't think that's hype at all. And you talk about like buying NVIDIA stock, it's either get that, or I've been getting a lot of, I'm trying to keep dipping into Tesla stock as well, because they're doing the robotics, doing the AI, doing the social media and self-driving, which I do drive a older Tesla myself. And yeah, the whole FSD, like full self-driving tech stack they released last year, version 12, and now version 13. It's like, it's been incredible. Like I haven't really been driving myself anymore for the last like over half a year.
Okay, like we have a lot of things in common. I also drive with Tesla using FSD every day.
Very
So
nice.
okay, yeah. And this actually touches another maybe very subtle and important question. What are our next generation people would do? Because the AIs are for me, sometimes I feel like I would rather ask AI instead of asking students,
Yeah.
even PhD level students to help because
Yeah.
I can get answers much more quickly, more
Yeah.
reliably. Then where are the jobs for them in the future? Right now, even for computer science graduate, what I heard is for undergraduate students, it's very hard for them to find entry-level jobs.
Yeah.
So what's your take for this problem?
Yeah. Like I was pondering this a few years ago already, like when we first started this, seeing how this technology is so powerful even 2 years ago, that in my mind, like it would start replacing white collar workers already. And with robotics, it's going to start replacing blue collar workers, which could spell a lot of doom and gloom for a lot of people. So like if you are getting started either from school or trying to start a business, definitely start with why. Like don't figure out how to do it or what to do. Figure out why you want to do something first. Because if you do not have passion on what you're building, that if you're willing to sacrifice or work like 80-hour weeks or just 24/7 or however you want to put up working, right? You're just going to give up. So make sure whatever that they are passionate about, whether if it's legal, health, climate, cool toys or whatever, right? Make sure that you're very passionate about it and make that your why, your center. Once you have your center, then just use to like learn AI, learn how to prompt, how to get it to do what you want, figure things out, and just start going from there. One of like it's still a good book today. Like not sure if you heard that one. There's Silicon Valley. Like almost I think almost every entrepreneur have seen it or read the whole thing. The lean startup, right? So it's a lot easier now because they had that book for almost a decade ago, and now like what they were talking about is that once you have an idea that you're passionate about that you want to try it, build a prototype. Before you have to put together a team, spend like weeks, months on it. Now it might be just minutes or hours away. So build something, build it quickly, fail fast, fail often, and just show it off to the world. Bring it to your friends, bring it to social media, and see if it's actually helpful to people. Once you start seeing that it's helpful to people, like how I found out 2 years ago that, hey, I built this thing within like a month. I have people start paying for it. It's like, okay, people do want this. So once you find out something that it's great for people, keep building, keep improving, and hopefully you'll build something that lasts. And who knows? Maybe we will get Terminator. Maybe we get lucky and we don't. Who knows? Oh, you gotta turn on your mic. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I was muted. And I think maybe since we are entering the last stage of our session, can you?
Yeah, I agree. That was a little bit of an ominous tone to stop on, but thank you both for such an insightful conversation. I want to quickly remind everyone that the AI for Legislation competition is officially launched and open to submissions until the end of July. And in fact, William will actually be helping us out again as part of the judging panel later this summer.
Thank you.
A big thank you. And now we will open the floor up to a live audience Q&A for any questions.
Okay, don't be shy. We are friends. Yeah, if nobody answer question, I wanted to kind of comment on the kind of future generations jobs. And I actually had this discussion with my older son, Alex. He's only 16 years old.
Mm.
And I told that, and even with like the best possible AI tools, there's still a lot of hard challenges and humanity or our country or our society or each person and face. So and we need to just take on bigger and bigger challenges. Like maybe traditionally, only some PhD level students can work on some idea, but right now with the right tool. Okay,
Oh,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for coming to speak to us. I was just wondering if you guys have any advice, like from your experience working in sort of the computer science industry for like the AI for legislation, like contests and like any sort of like how to like tips.
Some contest-specific advice about maybe how to get started with a project.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and now whenever I have questions, the first choice for me is to ask AI. So that's what I would suggest you to do, like just type in or copy paste the competition information into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, I want to participate in this competition and win the top award. Can you give me some project ideas? And then I will read through them to see which one actually echoes my interests and passion. Then I will just go from there. And right now, quite often you can get like very good code examples from AI already. So you can follow up questions with AI to see how to build this project. So that's just like the first few steps. Just ask AI.
For sure. Like kind of like similar to what I was saying before. Like focus on what your why is and why you're passionate about it. Like if you're passionate about that particular topic, then yeah, you're just gonna start using all your capabilities, all your abilities to work on that idea, and doesn't matter if you win the contest or not. You're just gonna keep building and building something that's great for people. So like if you can say, let's say if she was building something for health or building for something for environment, and you're passionate about it, and yeah, like don't try to game the system by trying to just win the
Yeah.
competition, but trying to build something that people truly want and something that you would believe in. And I would think that would be a much better way to build a project, not just for some prize money, but to actually try to benefit yourself with your community, where something that would you are passionate about with your community that way.
I totally agree. In Silicon Valley, there's a test to see if you really want to work on something. Imagine you have all the money in the world. You have any kind of material and requirements any human ever can have or should have. Even with that kind of abundance of resources, money, what you still want to do, that's your real passion. Okay, that's kind of golden test, golden
Yeah.
test for that kind of, if you really want to do something that's really like your burning desire and cannot be kind of persuaded away by your financial or any other situations.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is really kind of a lot of kind of pump up kind of talk, but I actually believe in this.
Yeah.
I know I don't have the expertise to speak on this, but if you just like have AI summarize kind of today's legal processes in America, you'll find that there's a lot of things that can be improved on, or just like maybe they shouldn't be that way. It's very difficult for, and this is something that Chunhua also told me, it's very difficult for a civilian to get engaged with the law at a deeper level. And maybe through looking at these problems, you'll find something, you'll find your why if you don't already know what that is.
Right. Another way is besides asking AI, you can ask like your parents, your friends, like, hey, here's the competition, this is the scope of the work. What pain points you have in your life that can relate to this competition?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of talking to your potential users or customers of your project. If someone raises some kind of pain point and really bothering them in their life, and you also have the same feeling, then try to do something about that. And that could be a wonderful project.
Yeah. Regardless you win the top prize or not, maybe you'll get at least the second prize.
Okay. Okay, any more questions? While we waiting for the questions, and I wanted to get back to my previous discussion with my older son, Alex.
Yeah.
I think traditionally, like there were some projects only PhD level students could take on, but now with the help or support from very powerful AIs, even high school students, they can take on very ambitious and very difficult projects.
Yes.
And I really believe in that. So this kind of the level of initial education and will constantly be kind of lower the entry and barrier of entry to more and more complex problems with the more and more powerful AI and tools. So I really believe that's a trend. So if you are young and just graduated, just think wild. Like Cynthia, I told her, think you will be the CEO of our organization.
Mm-hmm.
How you can scale it up to 1,000 times, and you can get a compensation of $1 million per year, even for a non-profit. Because now you have like a very powerful AI tools and networking. Don't limit your imagination.
Yes.
So if you are still looking at entry-level job, they will be gone very soon. But if your goal and ambition is very high, still plenty of jobs you can go after, and you can create your own jobs and many jobs for many other people.
Yeah.
So that was more or less the conversation I
Yeah.
had with my older
Yeah,
son.
that's good advice for your son. So yeah, like, if like I don't have kids, my wife right now, but yeah, like that would be some similar advice I would give like to kids of my friends, where they're just getting out of school and all that.
Okay,
Right?
so any more questions?
If not, we are at 7:25 p.m. just about. Do either of you have any closing remarks, or have we kind of exhausted the discussion pool?
Well, I really want to thank William for taking this time and chatting with me and everybody else. And it was very insightful. Again, I'm a huge fan of 80 people creating companies and actually multiple companies. I may follow up with you because my personal plan for my sons, they should create their companies and both become billionaires. So that's my wildest goal right now. And I already have kind of two jobs for them. Each of them has a job, become a billionaire, creating some high-tech company, making the world much better. As a byproduct, they are just a little bit a $1 billion. So that's
Yeah,
my personal
yeah.
plan.
Yeah, with Sam Altman from OpenAI, he was predicting that there is going to be a lot of small teams of just one or few people becoming billionaire companies, and it's definitely possible. So we just
Okay.
make sure that we find pain points, like you said, that people are looking to solve, and you find a big enough problem to solve, then you'll become that next $1 billion company. All right, that's a
Okay.
All right.
good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Thank
everybody wants to become a billionaire. Okay, that's a good
Yeah,
plan.
now we all have that same chance.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. The playing field has been equaled out, right? Yeah, I also wanted to thank William. Although our audience count was not high for this seminar, this was our first, webinar for the competition. And when you emailed back to my email, for me, that moment was like, oh, thank goodness, I haven't completely failed as a project manager. So it'll only get better from here. We're really looking forward to the submissions for the competition. I will keep in contact with you about the judging information.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Recording stop.